everybody. Good evening. How are you all? I am Dr. Rahul Yusuf. I am coming on just to have a small chart for you on creature comforts. We have started uh, kind of a series on creature comforts in modern life and how we kind of get used to them, and later on how they lead to chronic disease and generally ill health, right? So that is something we don't pay attention till we end up with that chronic disease and pay for it, right? So that is something very simple thing. We can pay attention and change our daily routines in our modern life. Um, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Creature comforts basically habits that we have developed, thinking that that's why we are born and we're going to have this pleasure, we're going to live it up, basically, right? And that has resulted in a lot of problems, health wise, body wise, mind wise, and all. Five things I want to talk about today. Number one is the food. Number two is the um, transportation that we do. Number three is how we do the sleep and awake cycle, and then we have the um, not being in the present and being in the head all the time, so that you go back to the memory or the future, right? And of course, we have used to the comforts of the cars, elevators, and uh, furniture at home and all. So these are the five areas I want to cover: food, sleep, and how we keep our mind in the past, and also transportation, and how we really sleep, and all those daily things, right? They neglected, they uh, kind of perverted in our daily routines because we think that is fashionable, or that is something that is what is living it up and being civilized, and all that mishaps, right? Misunderstandings about their way around. For example, you take all the food that we eat is more of a the food is uh, processed food, right? Ubiquitous, everywhere. And then we see the result of that in the chronic disease of diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, heart disease as a whole because of all these three, and the arthritis too. These I call more like a disease of civilization. Not that we want to be uncivilized, we definitely want to be civilized, but then understand perversion of this daily lives in our life without really paying attention is really leading to human suffering. That's what I see on the other end of it. A lot of other people are saying too. Then if you really examine it, we don't eat well, we don't sleep well, we don't think in the present, you know, and we are always gossiping or something like that, and we are always using cars and other comfies like sofas that we sit in, or elevators that we take in, cars that we use to transportation. All these things leading to basically one is stress, the other one is immobility, and that is very very harmful for people. And then other thing is sitting down. So to really say briefly, what I would say is keep yourself mobile and keep your mind here and now empty, right? That's a basic principle of good health. Everybody knows about it. But if you really take each person, or they're really employing that in their daily life, that is what I wanted to pay attention to. You know, um, maybe maybe we are paying attention to one aspect or other. Maybe we are doing very good on the diet, but then we are so used to sitting in the chair and we don't really take it serious unless it becomes a problem with a backache or neck ache or so nowadays we call sitting is the new smoking. And because we know there's so much of ill effects of this sitting that we're taking care of the chairs we're in or the posture that we maintain and also taking breaks from sitting for long. Our devices like the watch will stand up. It is already 1 hour you have been sitting down. That's a good thing, I think. The technology one years ago you can get up and then walk that way. Actually, it's not just getting or walking up, but also kind of dancing moves that you want to have so that you are moving multiple ways to release the tension on the ligaments in the back and on in the hips and in the legs. That is a very preferred way. So you don't have to do much, but a few minutes, couple of minutes, if you do that, that will be very good. So uh, what I would say is start with this early bed, early rise. That is definitely against our late night activities, our parties, our celebrations, our entertainments, and all those things, right? Then eat only good food that is made at home. That's not really comfort food, instant gratification. Okay, and once you slept well and you eat well, then use your time uh, to see that you are functioning in the present. You are not letting your mind to go all over, right? And then when you go to work, try to stand and move as much as possible without sitting there, you know. Um, so and then we're going to the office, try to catch public transport where you can move a little bit or walk or take a bike or somehow you negate that car transportation and all of that, right? People have designed deliberately, but after a while, if they have problem where they cannot even sit in the car, then they have to walk and buy. I know a couple of people who are like that. They cannot sit, they cannot really bend their my back, so they have to keep upright all the time. That is it. So get up early, have a good sleep, have a good breakfast, like a holistic breakfast, and then try to be in the present and go public or by walk or something like that to the office. And once you're in the office, don't sit too long, you know, and also try to keep your mind here and now and the work. Okay, those are simple measures that you have to uh, keep in mind and then design your routines and make simple changes as you go through each day, right? So these comforts that we are addicted to actually go against our natural erect posture and natural movement that allows our internal organs function better. The liver enzymes are effectively better, the kidneys function better. All those things are there. We already know about all of that. So be active, be not sedentary, not stationary. Then these comforts will not make a habit out of them, and then we cannot leave them. And by the time we realize this is so, then maybe we have already suffered some damage to our chronic diseases, and then they get much worse. Okay, I saw that. I saw the people who have all these diseases. If you ask them, they are mostly sedentary. They might have been athletic, they might have been active when they were young, but then after they became certain age, like 40s, 50s, 60s, they kind of become very sedentary, especially in the earlier decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, and all that, right? Nowadays, there are places where the culture is they allow kids to work there. Google, for example, you can take a bike and go there all the way to the half, right? And then put it next to your cabin or something, and then you go over to work. So there is awareness, there is enlightened living, kind of, where they take time to eat good food, they take time to exercise, and then they keep themselves mobile, and also they keep themselves focused and attentive to what they are doing. So these are all very good things, you know. But I just inviting my friends to consider that and see whether they have any idea about these things, or they just uh, you know deal with it when they come, when they come and talk. You know. I usually tell my patients and their families with the chronic disease whenever they come to check up, or they come to complication treatment in the hospital, or they just attend one of the sessions or the education we give. All those places we take really opportunity to explain to the ill effects of this creature comforts in the rock. Now, you know that I'm an ancient wisdom person. I do yoga and all. What yoga does is it does speak of three different energies. One of the energies is called tamas. That is like a lazy, retiring, and really bad energy. But it is required when you want to sleep and to unwind. That's okay. But you don't have tamas energy built up in your body because of the problem sitting, or not able to move and all that, right? And that has got a lot of potential of not making you not being able to understand very subtle, intricate matters of spirituality. And that's very well known, and people have means to identify where which parts of your body are really tamasic, and how can you relieve that. So that's the yogic perspective. I'm going to go too deep into that, but basically modern life gives us this late nights, gives us this excess work to sit down and work, and it gives us this information overload, and also it gives us all these facilities which make us get into this lazy kind of mode much easier. You know, of course, the food also. That's really uh, food is just eaten because the hunger was there and take it. But a lot of people don't plan food in such a way that it is going to increase your energies, spiritual energies inside. It's called sattvic food, where you eat very fresh, and if at all if you eat something freshly made cooked food, and that's also mostly vegetables and fruits, and all that helps a lot to really go into the deep studies that we go to if you want to really explore the spiritual knowledge. Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to share this to my friends so that the series I'm going to do now, I started it today, and then I'll be doing more intricate details of the food, and comforts that we have in the house, in the office, in the society, and also how we kind of become more sedentary because we have become more intellectual, and that intellect also too much intellect. You know, that's also a problem, right? And then we don't sleep very well because we have different ways of life, and then so entertainment and uh, parties and all of that. The thing is, you don't need these pleasures and entertainments that much if you are joyful with it. Okay, and then you will see the beauty of that joy in your heart and happiness in yourself compared to the fleeting, quickly fading away pleasures and entertainment. You know, that's a big topic too. So we'll explore each topic as the days go by. And if anybody wants to come up, you can come up on the Wisdom app on the clubhouse, and you can tell me about your. I think Ganesh is there. Maybe I wonder if he wants to come. Okay, the invited in there. Hi Ganesh.
Om Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. How are you?
Good, sir.
Yes.
You remember that day we had a discussion on food?
Ah,
Yeah, in the Gita room, you were also there.
yeah.
Rajesh ji was organizing it.
Uh-huh.
that day we saw this sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food.
Yeah.
Uh, and I thought like I will take a chance again. And this time I did not make I made last time. Last time half of the day I was eating vegetable rice and all, and half of the day I was eating fruits etc.
Uh-huh.
But this time I made a change. Like I was eating raw vegetables,
Mm.
leafy vegetables,
Mm.
and fruits, all of them, all raw. And fortunately, it turned out to be the first day of Navratri also. And I was not aware of that. We had a discussion on that day, and I decided to do it. And both time, and this time I did both time, not one time, both time. And the fifth day, I felt extremely strong instead of feeling weak.
Yeah.
I removed all the seeds and all. No seeds in the dish.
Mm.
What happened is my question now. Raw vegetables, raw vegetables, a little bit cooked, and sweet fruits as normally raw we have it. The rasa that is there, that is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita,
Juicy.
in regards to sattvic food. Yeah, I consume that with fully it got consumed, and I have a strong feeling automatically within the fifth day itself.
Yeah.
I had a burning, actually there was a burning sensation in the throat region. That burning sensation disappeared, and what happened was like again I started seeing food here and there. So what I did was, after the fifth day, I added this sweet potato that is allowed in fasting.
Yeah.
I added sweet potato. But after adding sweet potato, I started feeling weak again. So later I quit it again. And now I didn't stop. I'm continuing it. I had normal vegetarian food only twice, 3 times.
I see.
All these while from Navratri.
Okay.
And now again I quit sweet potato also, and I'm feeling again strong. So what's happening?
The sweet potato is also a root, right? It has the carbs and all that, you know. But it is a question of combination of less carbs and more protein, more fiber, and elements and minerals. All those are supplied very well. There is one thing about the food is it's not only the foods you consume, but how is your system, you know, within your system. Suppose you are very hungry, eat it, you assimilate much better. Okay, and also if you are doing a lot of breathing exercises and your metabolism is at a peak, and then you drink water, that will be very well absorbed and very well taken care of within the gut and everywhere, right? So basically, yogas they call ekabhukta. That means they are eat only once a day, you know, and then most of the time they were doing a very serious pranayama, and they consumed water once in a while. Okay, so they were very energetic, and also they didn't have to digest all these other things because they were eating fruits, they were eating not even vegetables as such, but they were getting whatever they get in the nature as the food, and that way they stuck with the seasonal fruits too. So that's a very, very, very important thing. But then now, modern life has got used to some times, and where even though you are not hungry, you eat because of the taste or because of sharing with the socially and all of that. So they said Ekabhukta Yoga and Dvaita Bhukta, I think, 2 times is the bhogi, that is somebody who is in the world and enjoying everything. That's what he does. But then if you do 3 times, then they call he's a rogi. That means he is a person with disease. So there's a lot more in the energies of the foods too. So accordingly, some sour, some of these fruits that are sour are very astringent, we call them, and English, and they are very, very effective with your hormones and minerals and juices, all that happens within your um, all the systems, okay, gut or the excretory or the circulation, all those things happen in life. But basically, think of this person walking in the forest or the hills and then eating only once a day. But then when he ate very good like a real animal because he's so starved and he was eating all the food just for the day. And then after that, he would not do anything at all. And he would be they fasting all night. So they didn't have to do separate fasting because they were fasting already. The principle is get very hungry, then only eat good food. Actually, I'm very benefited by that. That's what I do. I work up my appetite really good, and then when I eat, I'm really hungry. I don't eat by just time and all the use. I don't have. I'm hungry. If I go to a party, I may just take a glass of fruit juice and stay with them and spend with them. But if I'm hungry only, then I will eat. Usually, I don't eat outside that much. But this kind of thing, like knowing this simple principle of I'm not going to eat unless I'm hungry, helps a lot. You know?
Yeah, I feel hungry. Definitely, that is where I feel like I should eat now.
Yeah,
But yet, yes, I am eating twice
yeah,
because that is in my habits already.
yeah.
So
I'm just
yeah,
telling you
again,
what was,
that is something we thought of.
yeah, yeah, what was
Very
described. Yeah,
seems to be difficult. Let's see.
yeah, yeah. I was just describing how the whole thing was taken up as nutrition needs, nutrition, how it is. You know what they do? They sit in Vajrasana after they eat. That is a very good posture to digest your food. Try that sometime and then see how that works for you. Suppose you ate and then you kind of sit on your knees and then lie down on your seat on the on the feet. That is a Vajrasana, right? And then that's a very good one for digestion because we don't want people to lie down after they eat because the juices and all of that will be disturbed that way, right? And if you stay erect or walk a little bit, that is prescribed after you eat a heavy meal, you know. But usually, we don't want people to eat too much either. Keep one third empty so that you can drink a lot of fluids after that, and don't want to dilute right away. But then later on, after 30, 40 minutes, you can drink a lot of water, and that will be very good. And also, the expansion of the stomach will be going down. So you don't have to take a lot of food to have that expansion of the stomach, which gives you satiety, the feeling of satisfied hunger and all that. You don't have that. But if you eat very fast and you eat a lot of food with a short time, then your stomach will expand and it will demand like that ever since too. That's why yogis sat down and munched on the fruit very slowly and enjoyed the rasa, the juice and all that. But they did not make a juice out of it. That is the kind of very difficult for the diabetes to. These people ate the fruit and enjoyed the juice in that. So that way they got the pulp, they got the fiber, and they got all that can help the digestion, right? So that's also a good. So if you take fresh fruit from the tree and then wash it and eat it, that's much better than making a juice out of it and eating it, especially if you are diabetic and the blood sugar because there's what's called glycemic index, right? So the moment the food hits the stomach, if the food is already in a form where the stomach can absorb it and the blood sugar will go up, then that we say that is a high glycemic food. So we don't want like a white flour, like a something how this junk food that they make Twinkies, biscuits, and all that. The soda's the biggest culprit. Your blood sugar will go up, so that's why we want them don't eat high glycemic. Then we have a list of foods that we can tell them, and then they can avoid them. Very interesting. If you take it, what the ancient did or what we are doing, all we have to do is be common sense. So just eat when you're hungry. That's it. That's the common sense I use. Which is working very well. I've maintained the same weight for several years now, and I energy is usually through the roof, and that's also a combination of factors that makes energy like that. But food-wise, in Bhagavad Gita, he talks about juicy fruits that he specifically was recommending. That was very, very um, wise and insightful. And I thought that was great, the recommendation they have. There was a man, Garikapati Narasimha Rao, he's in India. He's a big scholar and all that. And he kind of had a talk on diet in Bhagavad Gita, Telugu language, but I thought he did a great job. He's a real scholar of so many things. He knows about all the scriptures. But then on that lecture, I was very impressed about diet that is prescribed there. But I'm talking about in here now in Western society and India also, what is happening with people is they are getting used to this creature comforts quite often, and then they're not realizing what kind of damage is going on under the skin. You know, like if you are sedentary, many of the educated people will know about it, and they actually try to go out on a jog or a cycle or something like that, right? But then a lot of patients they come to the exercise only after they suffered an event, we call it, like a cardiac arrest or cardiac heart attack or a stroke. We call them a cardiac event, whatever it is. And then they and also diabetic also very common. It's increasing, and more people are getting obese. Very, very. Babies are getting obese, so we are very concerned about that. Of course, people are getting a lot of stress because they keep so many things in their mind. That's also there. So these two things, immobility and the stress, I believe they are promoted by these creature comforts of what we call comforts. I can't live without them. That kind of thing actually here. They consider that is basic civilized, but I don't consider that basic civilized. So kind of unconscious habits that they develop because they are in the culture. They just doing them and they become habits, and later on they worry about the problem.
Great, sir. I will keep you updated about my journey, like how it is going.
Okay.
I will try Ekta Bhukta also, but not immediately. But let me adjust to this diet change.
Yeah. Take it slow, Ganesh. Take it slow because even if you don't have ekapukta, you can just maybe have a good meal. And one prescription I give my patients is heavy breakfast and light lunch and very light dinner. That's a good formula to keep the weight. Maybe you heard about that, but that's what we prescribe to people. Have a heavy breakfast, light lunch, and very light dinner. In between, no snacks. If you at all you take any snacks, they should be healthy. That's the formula. You know.
Okay. In this journey, I lost only 2 kgs. Like I was 74 around, and now I'm 72 around. So not much difference. It's a gradual. I thought it will be a heavy change and all. Nothing like that happened. Just 2 kgs is lost.
Yeah. More than eating, I think it's exercise and then how you really metabolize all that we take. That's important too. And modern life breeding that lethargy and Thomas I talked about, and inactivity, immobility. That is where we, yeah, there's one prescription we give is suppose you are sitting down for too long, get up and have a dance move like all the multiple movements you have. And people think that's weird, but actually that's what you're supposed to do. That, for example, you have a filing cabinet now that reach down to the bottom bar and pick up, and then reach to the top and pick up, and go to the stairs with like a two steps at a time. Things like that you can invent to make multiple movements possible, not just to walk, but multiple movements. If you look at people are walking, they don't have the balance, they don't have the rhythm. But whereas if you see the African women or Indian women carrying some vessels on their head, they do balance, they have this rhythm in their walk. That modern man lost because you take it easy and you have multiple movements. Only when an activity, when they play or something, they are playing. Otherwise, they are like kind of sedentary, if not in the legs, they are sedentary everywhere else, upper chest and abdomen and other legs. Yeah. Okay, that's very nice, Ganesh, and we will be talking about this, and then I will be doing. I don't know how exactly I will be doing, but I will be doing a series of rooms on this. I just want to explore with people. Probably I'll have to advertise to get more people too, and when they come in, then we'll all be able to, uh, you know, come to some enlightenment on this. I don't think many people think about the creature comforts being aiding their chronic disease. I think they will, oh, it will happen, it will not happen to me. But what is going on within your body, in your vessels, in your cell, that's a very chronic process. You're the person who has a heart attack, he started to build up bad cholesterol at the age of 20. When we take the cut section of the artery and look at the intima, the media, you see the deposition of this free radical, whatever the cholesterol and all that there. So endothelium is the site of action, and after certain accumulation, then the endothelium forms the plaques and then result in all sorts of things, right? So it's something hidden going on, and then it can be arrested. That's all my point. Anything else, Ganesh? You want to talk about?
No, sir, I will hear you now.
Yeah.
I will go back to the stage down below.
Okay. We will be talking only a few more minutes because this is like an impromptu. I just came up because I had some free time. But I want to announce this that I will be taking seriously each topic, each creature comfort. I'm going to take up like a, and then see what they can come up with. For example, sleep. We're going to talk about this epidemic of um, you know downers and uppers people use, and we have a lot of pressure for the prescriptions all the time because they can't sleep at all. And there are so many consequences if you don't allow sleep to regenerate your body and mind. So that's the topic I'm going to explore. And I'm going to give some pointers about how to improve your quality of sleep, and we'll see how that goes.
Thank you, sir.
So sure, Ganesh. Anybody else wants to come? Ashish and Alvin. Hi, Ashish.
Hello, doctor. Very nice to see you again.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm walking. Evening after my evening meal.
Very good.
It's 7:25 right now. So I just met a person who lost 247 pounds.
Wow.
He's my latest follower.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So he said very interesting tips actually.
Uh,
He said that exercise, right? And
Yeah.
he was like maybe 500, I think 400 plus pounds.
wow.
And then he lost from 247 pounds. And he's maintaining and exercising every single day.
Yeah.
So when asked what is his next goal, right?
Mm.
So he said that every month he pick up something new that he's not good at it in terms of the body.
Yeah.
And then he tried to perfect it and put in his toolbox.
Mm.
And then so that becomes the like a building block for the next month. So he takes the journey of 1 month at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, there's so much of inner psychological accommodation that has to be made on these people who are obese. I had one time a patient weighing 720 pounds. That's like more than, I don't know how many kgs, but the pounds, 720 pounds, and then he ended up going through gastric bypass surgery, and then he kind of died from the complication of the surgery too. But obviously, obesity is a big concern for the physicians everywhere, especially with all the sodas and everything in the American culture. We see very young kids are having this weight problem, you know, and so that's why also California, I think they try to ban all the sodas in the schools, you know, and other people are also trying it. But it is such a culturally embedded. Even my own staff, when they come to the office, they bring in a soda with them. You know, they don't drink water; they want to drink soda. But after a few lectures I have been making, and they became more interested, and then they started slowly withdrawing from that, and then they ended up doing fruit juice or something like a water and all that, or Kool-Aid or something like that, some simple tea and all that. See, a lot of these things, they feel like we are taking away good things from them. Really not, unless you understand the consequences of this bad diet and then bad calories going in. Other, that's why I kind of focused on even the feeling of I want to drink only the soda is a creature comfort. That was not there when you were a child, but then now you pick it up because the culture gave it, right? And then you drank it for so many days, then you feel like, oh, I'm used to it. I have gained a taste for it. I have to have it, otherwise I feel miserable. Yeah, sure, you feel miserable, but then that's why we talk not only at the disease level, at the patient level, but also the systems, the marketers, the restaurants, and all of that. But most of the people are not aware of this creature comforts causing so much chronic disease. Once they understand, they can make lifestyle changes, which are very economical, for companies. There are companies that I know that they punish people if they don't maintain certain numbers in their blood and also certain activity, and also they should not be smoking even in their house, you know. So there is ways to check it whether there is somebody smoking there or not. So if you are, then you are fired. I know certain companies like that. So that is too drastic, but my style is awareness and education. And speak out on these things, not in a punitive way, but more like enlightened people, right? On these matters.
I think you're also right,
Yeah.
doctor. When I started working, right, there was a company that I worked for,
Yeah.
and to attract the employees, they started to give free soda, free juice, free bagel,
Yeah.
free pizza on Friday, whatever, right? And you get used to
Mm.
because you will think that you're working work. And I was in a coding work, right? So my work required like a heavy concentration. And I said, let me grab a soda, let me give a coffee.
Yeah.
It's just free, right? They start there kind of. So that's like forcing you to do it, kind of,
Yes. Yeah.
and then you have to move away from. So
Yeah. Unconsciously pick up the habit, because it is present to you, and then you don't think much about it, and then you do it. That's why, you see, actually, the energy level, Shesh, mine is very high because I stay away from this immediate calories, you know. So that's really not good. We want to have food. Once you eat it, you should not be thinking about it for the rest of the day. That's the way it should be. That means if you have more fiber, more protein, and less of the carbohydrate in the diet, then you will have more time to break it down. You will take more time to break it down. That way, you have energy supply for a longer time too. And then uh, the the bad calories, they burn up right away, right? And that's why they don't really be there. And then you get more depleted of energy after you do this fast food thing every day, you know.
Yeah. So for the company, right? So the idea of building the product is
Yeah.
not the idea of
Yeah,
building the
yeah,
you, you know.
yeah,
So that is that distinction you
yeah,
should make.
yeah,
What
yeah.
should make the
I
product
mean,
or
that
but
is
your
there.
ideas are
That's
yeah.
why people like those who are making money on those kind of eatery products. They don't like us because they say you doctors want to scare us. No, we are speaking the real things that are going on. See, my style is how can I keep you healthy and live long for longest time, right? And also not just to stay, but also have a quality of life where your body and mind and everything is very good and there you enjoying. You are really enjoying your life, you know, not like just surviving or doing things. But lots of times people don't. This is all this called self-care initiation. So we want to encourage people to care for themselves a little better without being obsessive about it, but more intelligent about it. How you eat, how you sleep, how you think, how you relate, all those simple things. Simple, I call them therapeutic lifestyle changes. TLC, I call them. That's what I talked about lots of times. You know, it's a patient also. They will come with an acute problem. You treat that, you know. But then you also engage them in this discussion of knowing all this. And once they know about it, they really want to really participate and do something positive. And it all depends upon how we present to them. If we don't present like you are doing something wrong or something like a uh, you know crime, you know, you can tell them affectionately and then take time to answer all this and understand where they are. Like for example, you are saying that I will try to be one, but you should try it slowly according to your system, everything and all that. Then it won't revolt. Otherwise, your body is used to certain kind of routines for a while. If you suddenly change it because your willpower, that's not going to stay. That's why more people fail because they make in the rush of New Year or something. They make a decision, right? That I'm going to lose so many kgs. And all. But then 3 or 4 days later, they don't have the same motivation to go and do the exercise in the gym. So there's a way to break into these things, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Your body you should treat like a company. You
Yeah,
should grow it.
yeah, yeah. You have to
Because there are
train it.
different aspects, right?
Yeah,
And then you should handle each aspect with an extreme care.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then idea is to grow better actually with your
No,
body,
actually,
mind, and
body is very
whatever.
intelligent.
Yeah,
Body is very intelligent, but it learns things. It won't shut it out just like that. You got to train it to come out of it. You know.
yeah. So this aspect, right? So you
Yeah,
just say that
yeah,
you just cannot change your product of your company, in a day,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
have to multitask.
yeah,
Slowly the customer builds. So
yeah.
that's what you have to do.
You
What
know
you
what
said.
I tell them? What I tell them? I tell them they say training. There is a training. Okay. If you want to train, what does it mean is you make a small goal and achieve that fast. Okay, and then increase your goal slowly like that, then it won't be much trouble for you. But if you say I'm going to put myself strain by putting our fasting or 7 days fasting, as in so many varieties of fasting people do, right? Then body will revolt. It won't cooperate with us. That's in the mind also. So,
Yeah. So I think that's a beautiful statement. Have a
yeah,
small goal, but achieve that faster.
yeah,
This IT company, corporate company have this kind of things in place actually.
yeah,
So there are meetings, and then everything is divided in many sub goals, right?
yeah,
And then this person is asked to achieve that sub goals, right?
yeah,
So I'm working in a company, so for a couple of weeks, I'm given this four sub goals, right?
yeah,
And those I'm asked to achieve,
yeah,
and that is how the corporates are functioning. So exactly to the point actually that
yeah.
you say in the life how we should
Yeah. Even in yoga also, when I teach them, I usually see how they are when they come, right? And then I kind of show them there are like a base of yoga and there is a advanced yoga in between the intermediate step, right? So suppose a simple Tadasana where you stand on both feet and then really stretch from feet to the head. We tell them do as much as they can do, but then even after the first time they do a little bit, and then later on they do second time, they do a little bit more. Then by themselves, body yields to that. But if you do too much, then it will hurt. So that's why this is called my special brand is called micro yoga. That means, suppose you have problem with your back, you know, all that supports the back, all the things that are we can enhance, we introduce them slowly. You know, and for example, your core muscles are not good. You know, we attend to the core muscles quite a bit, and also you are not able to bend forward and backward. We won't push you to the all the way down. Only what you are able. So there is what's called swadhyaya. That means self-study. So when you want to do exercise, or even the walking out, you are able to walk 10 blocks, for example. You are not able to walk 10 blocks in the beginning, right? When you first started, maybe half a block, 1 block. It is staying with that small goals and increasing them and going there that's more important. Otherwise, it kind of reverts, the body reverts. So this micro yoga, this stages of yoga, this understanding, it's a training, not straining. Because there should not be any pain in yoga, you know. So actually, you should be re-energized after a good routine yoga. My people, I ask them, do you get more energy after you do with me or not? Every day, and that's a um, thing that they have to be in the present and follow what's going on in their body. So that way, I teach them to be meditative in their exercise. Make sense, Ashish?
Yeah, there are different things, that can show you the light actually,
Yeah.
uh, light further. And we should, for the initial push, you can have it mind, right? But then let your body also, show you the light.
Yeah.
What is how far you can go actually, and
And
that should be deciding for the mind all the time.
yeah.
So
The body has more intelligence, so that's what people forget about it is what the memory, what the intelligence we have in the brain is nothing compared to the genetic information, the molecular history, and all that remembers. Like, for example, it remembers how your grandfather's nose was, and then now it has come out, right? So, if you go into the real inner structures, molecular and all that, you inherit some constituencies according to your genetics, right? So suppose your brother may not be able to tolerate certain kind of food or whatever allergy he may have, but you may not have it because your genetics are different. But you can change them slowly, but that's the kind of thing you have to understand. Body has more intelligence than our cognitive mind because we limit ourselves with the cognitive mind. We don't let it look, you know.
yeah, I think sometimes we drop our mind for
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and then let the body do the things.
yeah. It does better than if you do it because runners and all these people, what they do is they try to um, limit the kind of mind suggesting that you cannot do this, you are not good enough, something like that, right? All the self-talk that goes on from the mind, they're trying to really get away from that. Because to each ball they're trying to hit it according to the um, merit of the ball, rather than they basically instinctively react to that. But if they are thinking a lot, they won't be able to do that.
Doctor, I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
So the body can do it, but mind will say no, body cannot do it.
Yeah.
So where the mind is bringing all this chatter
Yeah.
to you, and why?
Yeah. I mean, the chatter happens because you are unconscious and you have been absorbing things from yesterday. For example, you are spending today, right? All day you are attentive to everything that's happening. At the same time, after that is done, you kind of leave the residue or memory of that. That means a small ego is formed every time, every moment. And if we allow it to continue, it will become stronger. But if you drop it right there, and then you won't allow it to go into your recesses, then you will have a very clear mind at the end of the day, and they will sleep very well. And then mind restores itself. So important point is be conscious, be attentive to everything. Then the mind will not. We are basically we grow that entity called mind, but there is no real mind, only thoughts. You remember Ramana Maharshi? He said this. You know,
Only thoughts, no
only
mind.
thought, no mind. We kind of think there is a mind, there is a confirmation, but actually, this is called manonasha, destruction of the so-called entity of mind. But doesn't mean thoughts go away or everything will go not there. Only thing is restlessness thought will go away and dullness of the thoughts will go away. And you will be having a thought that is very efficient, but at the same time doesn't give you false gratification. Anyway, we are talking about creature comfort. I don't go too deep into this meditative state now.
Okay.
Because people are sometimes are not with me, then I don't want to take up this subjects too deep probably. So, if they ask me a question, that's good, but otherwise, they come up.
Doctor, every time I see you, right, and the way you're healthy and describing all the healthy things, I actually re-inspire myself.
Yeah.
That this is technically possible and I can keep it going.
Yeah. I mean,
Those are the very next.
we got to unlearn a lot of things that we learned as truth, and that is the biggest journey for us probably, because the way our parents, our culture, our history, all those things are given some memory from tradition to follow, right? But then they don't allow us to think for ourselves. So to think for ourselves, you got to unlearn all that we learned and then explore and investigate it with a fresh mind. That's where that manonasha comes. It's actually very uh, tremendously relieving state. You don't have any weight, the lightness of being, they call it. That is what you feel. So that's why I could see this creature comforts very quickly and see whether I'm getting used to them or not. You know, like for example, I want to be Ekabhukta or maybe a little bit of it, like that formula I said, good breakfast, light lunch, very light dinner. That I kind of go by, and then mostly fruits and vegetables and all those things are there. But also Indian vegetarian diet, South Indian vegetarian diet. But then watch that I'm not addicted to any particular taste, so that I will consume unconsciously. So that all comes because of the alertness, the attention to everything and all. You know. So if you do that, then you don't develop any of the things. For example, I remember J. Krishnamurti when he was on lunch, he always used to start with a fruit, and then there was a cook for him. He used to come and cook wherever Krishnamurti went, right? And he published a book. Take a look at that, actually, if you can get all. I don't know the name of the person, but I saw the book. That was fascinating how they prepare everything, you know. So that's a very, very interesting book to look at.
Sure. I also start my day with the 4 fruits actually every day.
Yeah, that's a very good.
I find good practice. Yeah.
Any meal to start with that becomes a very. These are simple principles. Like I don't eat and I'm hungry, and then I always want to start with a vegetable or a fruit, and then all the fruit, vegetables, and all made curries and all that. Don't want to have too much oil or too much salt, so that you don't get used to them. That kind of.
can you explain the creation comfort concept again? I just maybe I
Yeah,
tried to
but,
yeah, I have good thought about it.
yeah. For example, you are going in the car every day, right? And even though it's only 2 blocks away your office, you are going in that car because you're used to the comfort of the car and not really walking the elements and all of that. Then body settles down into the comfort of inactivity. And if you do that too much, like suppose you are doing it just for that, but you are moving around all day, that's different. But a lot of people with this, all the information work, intellectual work, we kind of settle down in the in the seats, and then that sedentary thing was there, right? I mean, there's more awareness now than before, but then what happens is your metabolism slows down because you made yourself more immobile. The root of that is your comfort that your civilization has sold to you. What says you kind of understand too much of inactivity, immobility will cause me a problem, then you would actually avoid to be immobile like that. And if you can go a couple of, there are some cities in America, one of them is near us too. They selected these as a national symbols. Like what they did was everything is available in walking distance. Okay, so you don't have to take the car and go somewhere and have that. Everything is available in walking distance. So people are pushed to walk and to take a bike and all that. That reduce the pollution, but at the same time, people are not wasting water in the traffic, and also a lot of problems are avoided, right? So they did that, and then some people who are into this ecology and who want to help the earth and who want to really not waste time for on this traffic jams and all that. They all try to live there, and they spend time much more meaningful things during that, rather than. So creature comforts are something that we do too much of a good, live it up, and then thinking only that is there without really realizing what is underneath that can cause this problem. And also, there is a different meaning there too. If you allow these comforts to overtake what we are doing to the earth, and a lot of these comforts are responsible for us to use the air conditioner or use the uh, plastic. A lot of things are based on that. People don't want to sacrifice some pain or take some pain, and then they indulge in this behavior. Suppose I say to you, Ashish, you are using plastic, you are polluting the earth. Then you get angry because it's very convenient for you to carry the water in a plastic bottle, and then it's much more easier for all of that, right? So that is a creature comfort. We got used to those comforts that make our life so-called easy and don't have to worry about it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense, Ashish? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, it certainly makes sense.
Yeah.
And if I extend your concept, right?
Yeah.
So your body is made up of the earth as well, right?
Yeah.
And if you see that, so you should provide the comfort to that also.
Yeah. But the thing is, body tells you. Body.
No. So let me complete the thought.
Yeah.
The comfort is not for the short term, right?
Yeah.
You see it as a long term, right? That's plastic. You say it's for the long term. It's not for the short term.
That's
So
the question.
your body,
That's
yeah,
the question.
how can have the long term
Yeah.
perspective
Yeah.
to provide the comfort to the body.
Yeah. See, the thing is, in the long term, if you want to live well in the long term, you don't want these habits to be accumulated in the body. Like, for example, you are eating a pickle that is full of salt and oil and all of that. You are eating a lot and with the rice. You're going to have diabetes. And then you say, oh, I have been very comfortable with my body. It wants to eat that. The habit we made it for. But it could have carried in our genes also, right? The families carry the same thing. So to understand, to get rid of it, it becomes a problem because your body will crave for that comfort. demands, right? It wants it, it doesn't want to let go.
But what happens is the part one will require comfort,
Yeah,
but the part two of the body, will die because of that comfort.
yeah, it will
And
tell.
those are possible. So you
Yeah.
have to see the life of the part two as well, not just the part two as well.
No, we are doing so much that you are overcoming the body's natural inclination to be healthy. I know what you're talking about, that's really true. But then most of the people, why they can't give up certain things? Because they are using so much for so long, it overrides the body's natural tendencies. That's what I'm saying. You leave the body alone, it will teach you very good. Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. You see, the sweets, for example, they're not natural. The fruit sweet is different than the fructose in the soda. And fructose soda is very harmful for us. But the sweetness in the fruits is very good for us because that's not really break down that easily and cause problems. But then our problem is we get used to this and then we say, okay, my body asking for it. I will tell you a story actually. I think this is important for you to understand at this stage. There was a Himalayan monk. He was very good with his students. They was teaching very well. But then all these people left the world and then they don't want anything, right? But then the students want to do something nice for their teacher. So they go and bring some mangoes from the bottom of the hill and then they make a nice mango lassi for him. And then they bring a big glass of it and give it to him. And then he takes it and tastes it one sip and then gives it back. And the kids are really worried. "Oh, what's that? Is it not good? Why you are giving it? It is a whole thing for you." Then he said, "It is good. That's why." You see, he is not like us, like get used to the taste and then develop a habit and then not able to miss it and then indulge in that, all that, right? He was trying to do what is called pratyahara, withdrawing the senses from that. That's a yogic practice. If you do that, it's much easier to get out of a lot of habits.
So even if it is very good, you should only take a very small quantity.
Yeah, yeah, because you get used to this, then it will be a problem now. So what it is, if you do moderately, it's no problem. But I'm only talking about this. First of all, people are not aware of the future comforts, the damage it will cause. And even if they are, they don't care because they want the comfort more than the damage in the long run. Right? A lot of people don't listen to us when we tell them as a patient. Only when they have problem with the blood sugar, then they will. By the time it's already too late. That is overall in the society, it is happening. Obesity, for example, why so much increase is there and why we are worried about it, nobody else is worried about it. Unless they are obese, they are not worried about it, right? So we can see that even when I started to practice I think I was in medical school between 73 to 80, I think. At that time, we really saw very few people who are obese. Then 80s a little bit, 90s much more, 2000s really exploded, and now it's a big concern. Even the smallest babies are obese now. So it's a big problem. Down the line, we see more of diabetics, more of these people coming up because of this obesity has increased. One of the chief reasons of obesity is too much food available to some of these people and also too much immobility. And people are not able to get away from the taste factor. That is the biggest thing. There was a study on the obesity in NHA, and they were able to understand behavior, everything else. But they could not control the taste sensation. Somebody is really used to certain taste of certain thing. It's very difficult to get them off of it. You know?
Yeah, I think the life is about the taste, right?
No,
We
no,
cannot get away really.
no. You can enjoy to some
That's
extent.
part of the thing.
When you
Yeah.
overdo it, because like for example, soda, right? If you are drinking
Yeah.
soda once in a while, that doesn't cause problem. But then if you overload too many calories on the pancreas, the islet cells will not be able to produce the insulin that you want. It's spent off. It doesn't have any capacity anymore. And then ordinary sugar also you cannot. So what you did was, whether you eat a heap of rice or a white flour or soda, what you are doing is dumping a lot of sugar on the pancreas, and that has to work hard. But then your taste, at the time you are enjoying the taste, you don't remember all this. But you can enjoy something and then don't make it a habit, that's okay. But if you make it a unconscious habit where the yearning comes, where the taste requirement comes, then that's the problem. That's why these people become so obese. Because they will be eating all the time. You know that? I've seen so many people taking a bucket of ice cream and eating in the night. You know? That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That
I was guilty as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the mechanism, same mechanism we all have. That is how it is there. But then, if you can understand what is pratyahara, what is detachment, and all that, then there will be semblance of them. But for example, I can say this with humility: I don't have any habit whatsoever. Okay, I live moment to moment in the present, and but I enjoy things, but I don't want to make it a habit. It's not like I have to have this, otherwise I won't. That is not there because of this understand. You know, I'm not afraid of I'm going to be sick or anything. None of that. What it is do we are we aware of what we are doing? That's all.
Doctor, in that case, some meta habit would be good. Like if you see something good, only take small.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
that will be a meta
no, no,
habit.
that's what it is. See, this is not a habit, but if suppose I have a fruit, I savor it, I enjoy it, but I don't make it a habit such an extent where they have to bring that even if it's not. That's not. That's what I mean. I enjoy all the foods, a little bit of it, but they don't become a habit in me, a taste that is demanding compulsory from within me that I have to have. You see? That can be done
That's
by,
not.
by more people.
Yeah.
That can be done. So it's a question of awareness, Ashish. That's all. It's not that we are great people just because we're able to do that. It's good for our own body, for our own longevity, for our own energy. That's all. It's not like I mean, food is basically for me. Food is there. I'm not living for the food. I'm eating the food to live. There's a change between. A lot of you think the enjoyment, the social thing, and everything. That's why we are in the life. For me, no, the food is there to make you do bigger things. That's kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice topic, okay?
Yeah.
Because I try to see that the practices, right?
Yeah.
Let's say which I follow, right? And then it creating some sort of comfort for me.
Yeah.
And then I tend to extend and live in that comfort, right?
Yeah.
But then I can take away. So what would happen with this comfort?
Yeah.
I have task A being done very nicely.
Yeah.
The task B is not done because
Yeah.
I have comforted for the task A. Because let's say if I have to go to office, which I don't, but let's give an example
Yeah.
that I can sit in the car very nicely and go to the office all day.
Yeah.
But then I lose on my health because I don't get to exercise or
Yeah.
something of that nature.
Exactly.
So that, yeah.
That's
So
all I'm
that-
trying to do.
yeah,
Bring that
yeah.
awareness. Everybody has that. Bring that awareness, and then they will act intelligently. No force or anything. They will themselves realize these things and then do that. Otherwise, all we do is we kind of know about these things, and people who have suffered the consequences coming to our help. You see? And also there is another factor. People really suffer. The obese people that are used to certain things, when they are too much weight and then they are restricted with the diets, they suffer. And then sometimes they double up on. So many people are sent for surgery because they wanted to go, and they send us to clear, to prepare them, right? And then lots of people gain the weight back after the surgery because they never control these habits that they develop with themselves. So they are kind of, you know, all the time eating again, and then they brought it back, and that's very depressing for them because they felt like they failed something. They were not able to control and all that. So it's really not that. It's a question of understanding how these habits are formed. As a society, as a thinking people or intelligent people, we should have more of this awareness that you will teach your kids. Your kids will teach other kids. That's what it is.
Doctor, I think the design of the human being, the way the God has made, and the capacity of the mind to think, actually, I think it's not trying to resonate well.
Remember, I talked about. I talked.
But you have singular thinking. Actually.
No, you remember I talked about Mano Nasha?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Now you are bringing your own concept of how God has made it. He gave you intelligence so that you can go about the life with all sorts of things. You know. So I was not aware of this Manu Nasha 30 years ago, but when I came to know about it, what happened was I am thinking better. I can use my thinking better, but I'm not slave to the thinking. You see? So that's what happens when we know about these things. That's why all I want is awareness of this creature comforts problem down the line. So be careful. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. I think sometime to stop the mind, so I can use it at some other time.
Yeah. No, you can use the mind all the time. Only thing is, know that there is no entity as mind. It's more like a thoughts coming on. We kind of give them an identification, and then we say, "Oh, it has its own rule." It is not like that. You know? There's one person
Doctor,
in the
but,
room.
Doctor, but the construct of the world, right?
Yeah.
It requires to have whole certain thought. Let's say you're reading a book, right?
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of things to begin, like
Yeah.
what is the meaning of the word? What are different words?
So
How the
that's all.
sentence
That's
will
all
sound,
good.
what does the author want to say? But there are a lot of things that the mind has learned over the years. It is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
and
no.
this factor you cannot
Yeah,
deny
no,
at all.
no. The thing
Yeah.
is, that's why as I told you, it's not like destruction of the mind. It's the concept of mind. Okay. Then the thoughts that you have are not restless or dumb, more efficient and more in depth, and then they understand thought is only happening to us. So you are there to whom thoughts are happening. Then you really be in yourself, not in your thoughts. Very beneficial thing. That's why I'm pointing that out. Okay.
Yes, doctor. I think I understood now.
Mm.
The thoughts that happen to you. And
It's a very advanced meditation, like where you are not thinking person anymore, not only thinking person. You think, but you are a meditative person where most of the time you are silent and you use the thoughts. Very, very serene, very blissful condition. I enjoy that. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Most of the time you're silent and you want to use the thoughts.
Yeah.
Very, very profound, very deep.
Yeah.
And we should be drawn by the river of the thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Otherwise, you caught up in this thing. My practice, Ashish, my wellness club in the morning, this is what I practice all the hour with the people. Also. We do the exercise, we do the breathing, we do the focusing and all that. But I also answer their questions if they have some problems and all that. But then I train them to be here and now, to be involved in that silence and come from silence. And people are getting that once they understood that.
I will start practicing that. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thought itself. But then, you actually love to have the engagement of the mind.
Yeah.
Various activities like movies and.
Actually, I'm a scientific person. I know that, but then what the realization is, thought by itself does not have any origin. It's the silence that is our original nature. And then out of that, thoughts come. So we forgot who we are. Once we realize that, like you are a man, nobody needs to tell you are a man, right? Like that, once you realize your own inner nature that is so serene and silent, you can be there. I don't have this chatter anymore, Ashish. That's what I'm telling.
Very, very beautiful.
Yeah. But I was working all day with so many projects, and then I have to use the thought. I will use it. But the thing is, can you get out of it instead of making it compulsory, instead of making it unconscious? You will be conscious. You see. Let's see, Abhishek. What does he have to say? Hi, Abhishek.
Namaskar, Guruji. Namaskar, Asif ji.
Namaskar. How are you?
Namaskar.
Yeah, everything's fine. I have been continue listening this one, and I having one question with Asif because when you both are talking,
Yeah.
Asif given one example like the comfort task A and then task B. Can you repeat that one again, Asif ji?
Yeah, call me Ashish, it's fine. So the idea was this that a comfort provide because you actually love comfort because your one of the tasks is getting accomplished very nicely, right? So let's say you like the sweet things, right? And then you can have pleasure, and then you can enjoy. Maybe you can enjoy with the friends. You can have the good mood, and you can pass exams and those kind of things, right? But then what is happening that the sugar is building over in the period in your body, right? So your task B to become healthy all your life is not getting completed here, right? And I was looking about that. Yeah.
Let me tell you in a simple way. Okay. You are infatuated by the initial comfort. That is the problem. Down the line, you cannot get out of it.
And also, and also this is not just long term, right? Even
Yeah.
in the short term, right?
Yeah.
So let's say in the short term, you're in the school, for example, and you have to have a two subject, right? Let's say English and math, and perhaps you are concentrated on your English because you love reading books, but then your math skills is not developed properly, right? And then you fail the exams. So focusing on the comfort of the English level because you enjoy your life and you say this is my life, but then you can fail at math, and those kind of things are happening, right? So in the same way, when you grow up, right? So you can let's say take care of your career very well, right? And then you're in taking care of your career, your health can go astray, your family can go astray, and then you say, let me have the company of my kid all the time, and then you cannot satisfy the requirement of the job. You actually cannot build better future for them, right? So those are the so we enjoy the pleasure in one comfort, but then this other part of the life is missing completely, or having a reduced quality for our.
I'm going to ask a question, Ashish and Abhishek. Have you thought about comfort, creature comforts in this way at all in the past?
Yeah, because when I have been continue listening this conversation, I noticed that uh, sitting sitting with bend the body, feel the comfortable. It's a great example because what happened as I heard so many speeches of Sadhguru is saying that once you will be sit properly, 3 hours, 4 hours, then everything will be developed. Even when a human not in this position, we all are the monkeys and we are bended. So slowly when we uh, we sit proper way in a straight way, then mind develop, mind become the big slowly and uh, now we are in this condition. If you sitting bend, then lot of problem will be created. So comfort means I always feel like when I sit casually and bend my spinal cord, feel very comfort. But thing is that here you also teach do not be comfortable. Like you have given one example in America, everything is available at walkable distance. This is a good example. So people can walk and they can comes from comfort zone. Comfort
Yeah,
zone.
they call them
I
walkable
got it.
walkable
Yeah.
cities, and they created like 100 or 150 in Obama time, you know. And one of them is close to me, like 60 miles from me. It's called Dubuque, you know. And because I read about the story, I celebrated, and I passed through there a couple of times. So I saw that city, and the concept was very enlightening and very nice, you know. But not that all everybody is following that way. You can do it within your own thing. Like for example, we don't travel too much unnecessarily unless there's a work or something that is there, you know. So when we go there, also there's a plan, awareness of all these things. You know. Basically, the sitting that they used to do in ancient time, they were sitting without any back support. They were straight in the shape. Okay. Now we got a modern thing called ceto disc or something like that. That is there. The disc is kind of fluctuant, and you can put it in the back of the chair and then sit on this and then move a little bit. That will help a lot. You know. So there are back supporting chairs here, quite a bit of there. And I used to have a computer chair, like where you got to sit in the half Vajrasana position where your back is straight and then your both feet are really underneath that particular way they arrange it. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Whenever we are doing computer work, I used to sit on that, you know, and that ultimately don't have the back support and keeps your back erect. You know, they are there still available, I think. That's pretty good. But then, you know, there are certain things you can do in yoga that can really make your back resilient, you know. So I teach that with a lot of people. Even if you are sitting in the chair, you can do certain things to make your back be mobile and be very spongy and all that. So there is a Kriya Yoga too. But then, basically, first people have to be aware that these comforts are taken too much. Krishnamurti said very, very important thing. Suppose you go and see a tree, and that tree you enjoy, that's fine, you can enjoy. But if you want to carry it, if you want to recreate it in your mind, that is when the pleasure comes in. That is the problem. With the food and all this, that's the problem. And we made the problem because we go more for the pleasure than for just enjoyment for the time and leave it alone.
Yeah. So I learned today regarding the Manu Nasak and also micro yoga, Nasak, Swadhyay, these things. And after listening continuous your dialogues, uh, the one point is coming, which one really I need to work on that, the dullness of thoughts.
Mm.
Dullness of thoughts. This is a root cause of any things is getting delay and negativity is happening.
You know how you can
Dullness of
avoid
thoughts,
dullness,
right?
Abhishek? How you can avoid? Don't follow
Yeah,
anybody.
please.
Don't follow anybody. Explore everything with your own inner intelligence. No memory, no books, nothing. Take anything and examine it with your own intelligence. They used to do this in satsangs of ancients. What it is the people who come to satsang, they don't identify with anything. They don't have the socio-economic status, right? Here we ask immediately, who is he, what is his important, what is it? None of it. And also, they don't care how much knowledge you have in the past. What is the question you are posing now with your intelligence here and now? And how my mind can respond to it? Not dug into the uh, theoretical knowledge or accumulated facts. You got to create. That's where your mind will create new mind also. Very important. Now we know about that in the neuroplasticity. For example, somebody has a stroke, right? And they have a brain tissue that is dead. But then the resultant paralysis on left side or right side, what happens is that is made to do physical therapy was passive, then active, and slowly the movement will come back. And if you do the postmortem of these people of the died, they found new brain formed around the old dead brain. So by doing the peripheral exercises, you are creating new brain. Like that, if you are thinking the same thing, especially if you believe something and then you are thinking, what happens is called stupefying the mind. Okay, you can all repeat your own conclusions too, but if you don't do it, if you want to investigate everything fresh from the beginning, then your new brain will come. That's why you got to be quiet and calm in your mind and let the natural facts come through you. This is called chitta. Okay, the chitta is the mano, man, buddhi, ahankar, chitta. Four parts, right? Man is memory, buddhi is the intellect, ahankara is the identification, ego, and then chitta is actually universal intelligence that will come through you if you can keep quiet. But you have a lot of concepts, a lot of things. If you're doing all the time, then you will never be able to touch that.
Great Guruji. Man, Buddhi, Ankar, Chitta. These are the four pillars of
Mind.
removing the dullness,
Yeah.
dullness of
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And then next is also
Yeah. Just one thing on the topic, Abhishek. I have shared a link in the chat also. And this is a practical case why the cognitive dullness happened and how to resolve it. Some sort of medical, some sort of maybe psychological evidence is that.
Okay, then everybody satisfied or any other questions anybody has?
So I think Dr. Rao, I think this is mental fatigue, right? That I think I'm having. Maybe it looks like.
Yeah.
So what happened? So I've been looking for a solution as well. And Abhishek asked the question. I tried to resonate with my.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
So what is happening, right? I mean, a lot of concentration is required, right? And then we comfort, creation comfort, right?
Yeah.
So what happened, right? So we are thinking in one way, right? To resolve another kind of problem, you need another kind of mindset, and that mindset is not easy to come by. So that
Yeah, no, all mindsets are the same.
Thought processes and the new thought process cannot be easily born.
No, this is where our rishis are great because they were not coming from the mindset. They were coming from the awareness, which is intuitive awareness behind the thoughts, behind the mind. So once you have that, you don't have this mental fatigue because you are going around in the same mind thing. That's why you have the fatigue. But if you really understand your only thoughts, actually I'm something different behind, then you won't have this mental exertion. Yeah, you have to experience that. It's not like a concept. Okay? So
yeah, but this is a natural skill, right? It's
no, it's not a skill. Skill is for your mind. No, skill is for your mind. You are talking about something completely different from the mind. See, this is where they went behind the thought. Anyway, this is very esoteric, it looks like, but then as long as, see, you remember those five koshas? Did I tell you about them? Five koshas of the body?
No, please repeat it.
Yeah, very simple. Is the physical body, right? All our muscles, our bones, and everything. That is Annamaya kosha. That is made of our food, right? And within that, you have breathing, energy, and all that's called Pranamaya kosha. Okay? And within that, you have thoughts, feelings, and all of that stuff, Manomaya kosha. And you have your understandings, your cognition of things. You understand the world, everything, right? That is called Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then you got this states of happiness and all that. That is the um, uh, joyful nature of ourselves, right? You can be joyful, you don't have to think anything and all that. Right? These five koshas, uh, they surround actually who you are. You are now talking from the Manomaya kosha. That's why everything has to be understood by that, and that's why the limitation. But once you understand these five layers are really surrounding me, which is that Atman, self, or undifferentiated consciousness, so many ways, right? If you realize you are really that, then your mind doesn't bother you, it will work with
Guruji, can you repeat this kosa like Anyamaya kosa, Pranayam kosa, Manoyayam kosa,
you. Manomaya,
Manonasa kosa,
Vijnanamaya kosha.
Viknaya kosa. So these five are correct, and I am pronouncing correct. Anayam,
No, no,
Anyamaya
no, no.
kosa,
Annamaya.
Pranayam,
Anna means the food.
Maya.
Annamaya
Yeah.
kosha and Manomaya kosha,
Ah,
Pranamaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha.
Pranayam kosa, Manomaya kosa, Manonasa kosa.
Not the
Viknaya.
Manunash, not Manunash, Manomaya kosha. And that means you are thinking you have,
Manomaya.
you are in thoughts, you think you are a mind. Mano Nasha is actually advanced meditative practice. Once you understand or you get it, actually the people who are enlightened, they only realize I am this soul or conscious energy, whatever it is, right? They realize that, and then they can see body and mind separate from that, right? But they will have so much vasana, so many things come up because it is not like tomorrow you get up, you all this washed up. No, it will come from within you, right? Then the thing is tattva rahasya. That means you have to understand the tattva, and then manomaya kosha, nasha, mano nasha, and then vasanaksha tendencies that you have should be done. That has to be done separately. See, when you self-realize after years of practicing so many yogas, you will only realize that who you are. But then all your subconscious, unconscious samskaras, vasanas will come up. Every day you get up in the morning, they come up. So you have to do all these three things for several decades. Then you may get what's called Jivan Mukti. That means liberated while living.
Guruji, out of this topic, I having one question. If you aware about that, would you please able to say, like in West of Kund, where Vishnu live, there is one story behind the Jai and Vijay.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Because yesterday my boss is Italian, and they having one painting, and someone is from our company.
Say, yeah.
They remove the painting was in curtain. So people think like this is curtain like the bed sheet. They remove from their office and put they have thrown that one. Suddenly my boss he is Italian and he come and he told, where is my painting? Then that person told, I have thrown this one because kept in his store because it is curtains and painting was there. He told, hey, this painting cost is 10 lakh rupees. Because this is a story behind. He came and he told that he threw my painting, and behind of that there is a story. You are Brahmin, so you know about the Jai and Vijay. I told I thought about Jai and Vijay. Then he is Italian, but he is given one small stories.
Yeah.
You know the Vishnu collector. There
Yeah,
is Jai and Vijay.
they are the doorkeepers, the kind of gods for the Vishnu thing. You see, you will be surprised. I read all these things, but I don't belong to any particular ism. Okay? Because what it is all these stories have a relevance, have a purpose to describe certain underlying principles. You know, Ramana Maharshi taught us how to be in touch with the spirit or up behind whatever we are doing, right? So, like you see a deity in a temple, you got to be in touch with that spirit as though Bheda Bhav. That means that spirit and my spirit and me are separate, that is something different. But knowing that both are the same, that spirit is living in within you, is that without Bheda Bhava, you are really seeing what it is. To get to that state, they have so many stories, so many things that they have, um, you know, told us. Even Upanishads, there are so many stories. The student will ask questions his guru, and that guru will tell very profound uh, facts of life in a way that he could understand. So this is called metaphysics in a way, but it is the reality from what you see from your senses, from your cognition, is very limited. But the real reality is much more deeper, and that is what they were talking about. There is so much discussion on this in the science of consciousness that's going on now. So what is important is, do you have that inclination within you or not? Or you just have some few bunch of concepts and thoughts. So unless you touch that energy which is free of those thoughts, it's going to be that's why practice ways to calm yourself down. No argumentation, no really putting on anybody else's mouth, any of the thing. Just allow them to reach it on their own. If you can help them, that's fine. That's why Ramana Maharshi said one time, I'm not a guru to anybody, right? So then he said, I'm like a person with a light throwing light on the path that you're supposed to walk on your own. Not following, but just looking that light and then finding your own path by investigating. So if you want to believe something, that's different. But if you want to know and investigate something, that's different. They said two things: mano ya jano. Either you believe or you kind of know about it by investigation. I'm interested in that, the Raja Yoga, Gnana Yoga, and all the Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. They prepare your mind to go for the Gnana Yoga. But once you pass the Gnana Yoga, you got to investigate yourself. Anyway, I think we are reaching that hour of me. So um, anything else, or anybody else want to talk about anything? Otherwise, we'll close the room now.
No, just something, Dr. I shared the link for the kosha as well. I mean, when you say the things, I'm always curious and connect back to what it is actually, right? And often connection becomes makes me feel actually about these things. And within my roots have profound things. Yeah. Yes.
Ashish, actually, can you send this link through back channel, because here link cannot copy here. Unable to copy here. Need to type and able to go. Back channel, if you send this link through back channel, it is helpful.
So so I think you can copy also. If you just put the thumb on the link, it will pop up the menu that you can copy.
Where is it from? Google, Ashish? Where is this link from?
So I've searched for the kosha and I found the link.
Okay.
So that was easy part. But I just
I usually don't go to Google, and because I want to go to the pristine form of the ancient thing. That's why a lot of misinterpretation happens. So be careful about that. That's all. Okay. All right. I will be seeing you then again next time. I don't know when, but when I have the time, I will see you again. Okay. Bye, everybody. I'll be seeing you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Bye.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आपसे thank you very much.
Thank you.